Truth be told, I'm a simple person with simple needs. If you say the show has cute girls doing cute things, I'm on board. But that's not to say that the show is going to be great or amazing. It has to have something else in there that kind of helps it transcend just being another cute girls doing cute things. And Do It Yourself is one such show. A show that lures me in with cute girls doing cute things and lures me in with the concept of do it yourself. This idea of making something with your own hands and that rewarding feeling it has. I was all about seeing these cute girls be happy because they made something. But then the show did something that made it amazing. Character moments, chemistry, and writing that I've never really seen anywhere else. Something that made it so amazing I could not stop talking about it to people around me. Do It Yourself is simply an amazing series that should not be missed. But I'm going to get into all of that with my review of the series, a 12-episode series that aired in the fall 2022 anime season, so let's jump right into it. Do It Yourself opens up in a slightly futuristic Japan where we have like advanced AI, we have drones flying everywhere, automatic buses, and yes, even 3D printing at schools where you can make usable arteries. That kind of future. But we open up following a Yua Serafu, yes. Get the yourself jokes out of the way here. And she's about to start attending her new school, which is a fine school, but it's much to the disappointment of her childhood friend and neighbor Puddin, who wanted her to go to the same school she was, which is right next door. This other school that Puddin is going to is a much more advanced school. It's more about advanced AI, learning stuff that's more futuristic, kind of securing her future and her job in roles that are more popular these days, which again is more 3D printing, advanced AIs, and all that kind of stuff. But obviously this doesn't seem to faze Yua Serafu, as she is very much so a my pace kind of person. Her head's always up in the clouds. All she wants to do is just do things that are entertaining to her. But cut forward, we have Yua Serafu, and she's heading to school one day and she ends up wrecking her bike. As you find out, yeah, Serafu is very much so prone to accidents. She has a perfect record going to the school nursery every day because she keeps getting herself injured. But thankfully, Rei, who is a part of the do-it-yourself club, ends up dropping by and she ends up fixing her bike before she leaves. And Serafu didn't even get a chance to say thank you. So she decides to go to the do-it-yourself club that day and thank Rei for helping fix her bike. And this is when she's introduced to the wonders of do-it-yourself, taking things and crafting it together by your own hands, not a 3D printer. And Serafu is immediately interested in this. And over time, what you kind of get is you have Serafu enjoying do-it-yourself with Rei, and over time, different members join the club. Whether it's Takumin, who's more of a crafty type, creative type, she, a foreign exchange student that actually goes to the school nearby, going to the club as well. Jobko, a daughter of a CEO that was supposed to go to the more prestigious school, but accidentally got the name wrong. And so she decides to join as well. And yes, gradually over time, that hope and desire that you and the viewer has that Serafu is going to rope in Puddin somehow. Because yes, Puddin's upset about this. Why do-it-yourself stuff? Why would you craft your own stuff when you have 3D printers that can craft things? That's old tech. And that's definitely what we're getting into as we really kind of get the overall thought of the series itself. What is do-it-yourself essentially about? Initially coming into the series, my thought process was, okay, it's old tech versus new tech. One friend enjoys the old tech while this other friend likes the new tech. And this is a theme that's established early on and also gets hit on quite often. Even Serafu herself asked Rei, what's the point in making your own shelf? You can just buy it, which frustrates Rei. Again, Rei gets the concept of the fulfilling nature that comes in crafting something yourself, something that you built. And yes, technically, it makes sense when you can make shelves that fit exactly what you need rather than buying whatever's on the shelf on the shelf. And while that was my initial thought that was going to be the core of the story, I was surprised to find that that really wasn't it. Yes, that's the thing that kind of bridges the two stories together, is this conflict about the new and the old. But no, at its core, it's about these friends meeting each other and forming bonds. And that ultimately, in the end, is exactly why I say this show is amazing. Do it yourself nails characters. Yes, it starts kind of simple. You have Yua Serafu, who's just aloof. She's in the clouds. She's always dreaming about these crazy stuff that she can craft herself, all the while running into poles. And then you had Puddin, who was, let's face it, tsundere as all get. This girl does not want to express what she's really thinking. She just wants to do a pouty face and look away and say humph. But what I found is that over time, that simple start ended up advancing into writing that I really truly adore. Because my initial thought process is, okay, how are we going to get Pudding to realize that crafting things yourself is great? And then she joins Waserafu at the do-it-yourself club and everybody's happy and hunky-dory. It wasn't that simple because this writer knows how to write characters. Instead, what we get is a kind of a gradual bridging of these characters, almost a baiting to where they come together ultimately for a goal. And it took each individual one of these characters being brought in because each one of them brought their own way of thinking about things. Again, Serafu is just all up in her head. She's very creative type, but she doesn't know how to execute that creativity. Takumi, one of the first girls that they bring into the club as well, she's sort of the heart of the group. She's the calm, caring natured character that ends up pulling people in through forgiveness and that soft touch. You can call her the mommy type. Then you have She, who's kind of the muscle. She's a little goofy, but at the same time, she's able to give strength to the situation. Rei, the club leader, she's sort of the stern control of the group. While she does kind of get a little bit out of control herself, she's sort of the glue that kind of brings everything together. And then you have Jobko. Jobko is easily my favorite character of this show. Jobko is amazing. Because what you get from Jobko is essentially the bridge. Again, like I mentioned at the very beginning, you have this back and forth between the old tech and the new tech. And Jobko, and I won't spoil it completely, Jobko is the bridge for that. You don't realize it right off the bat, but she is the bridge that ultimately will bring everybody together in the end. And the way that they pulled that off was absolutely amazing. Because again, it wasn't simple. It wasn't a light switch. It's a progression of the characters that was so well thought out. And while some people might not think that's a big deal, but in a slice of life that honestly doesn't rely on melodrama, which I think ruins a lot of slice of life shows, that progression over time ultimately leads to a big payoff at the end. Because it feels earned. It doesn't feel simple, even though the concept is simple. The worries are simple. The struggles the characters are having is simple. But because it doesn't rely on melodrama or some epic somebody died in the past kind of story beat, it feels more rewarding in the end. It doesn't feel forced. And honestly, that's the best way to describe it without getting too detailed, which honestly is very difficult to really get into because it is, as some would probably say, just a slice of life. It's honestly kind of surprising even to myself coming into the series. I expected do-it-yourself, cute girls doing cute things, but it was very little of that. Again, it was more about these characters and how they came together because of the do-it-yourself. Yes, they're cute, I'll be honest. But that wasn't the point. This isn't a simple cute girls doing cute things. Again, at its core, this is a slice of life. And it's one of the best slice of lives that I've ever watched. And what puts us all in a nice little package is some fantastic work in both the animation, the art style, and the music itself. Pine Jam, who made this series, did a phenomenal job. The show kind of goes for a very artistic, almost sketchy look to it, but it excels in animation. These characters look very lively. They're very animated. They put a lot of efforts into subtle details, subtle movements that really do bring these characters to life. And I absolutely adore the character designs. It was kind of interesting at some point that it dawned on me that for some reason, Yua Serafu, whenever she talks, her mouth is pure white, where everybody else sort of has like a more gum tone to their mouth. And I think that kind of just adds to her character. It's like a little extra detail that really just makes her different than everybody else. But the pouty faces from Putin, the more softer tones and more gentle look of Takumin, the over-the-top, energetic, jumping all over the place like a ninja, She, and yes, even the more frustrated, but every now and then slipping at her internal self of Jobko. Again, they brought these characters to life in a way that I really did adore each one of them and their own little unique quirks. And the music is just absolutely fun. It's very simple. It's a lot more goofy sort of music at times, but it always matched the scene. It always managed to kind of push the scene a little bit better, giving it its own little flavor to the beat of different types of tunes. In the end, Do It Yourself is going to be one of those series that it's going to be very difficult for me to express everything that I love about it. It's one of those ones that will never do it justice. I highly recommend people checking out Do It Yourself. It was truly a treat for me this season, which is really, really sad because obviously noting that it's a slice of life is sort of not in the realm of what most people consume. It's not going to get as much viewership as something like Chainsaw Man, which is okay. Slice of life, unfortunately, is sort of a niche genre. But I think for those that give it a shot, you're definitely not going to be let down. It's definitely not the sum of cute girls doing cute things. It's not overly melodramatic. It's just got really perfect writing here. Writing that really brings the characters together, does a lot of kind of breadcrumbing of certain story beats that manages to pull them back in later on, and just these really moment-to-moment situations between each of these characters, what they're dealing with, their past, and how it all interlinks these characters to bring them together for a common goal. Something that's really, truly rewarding in the end. And again, I highly suggest it. But that's my review of Do It Yourself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to that like button down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of the series. You could be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.